All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Let's see what's cooking today. This is going to be an outside project. So I've got a gooseneck trailer here, and it is a monster. It's about twice as long as my gooseneck trailer is. Customer brought this by. There is a plate here where there used to be a winch, and whoever welded this on it looks okay. They didn't paint anything, which I probably would have painted it. That's probably the best one. Here's the other problem. This lid right here, if you pop this open, these hinges are broke. Completely snapped off. Whoever they took it to before kind of tried to scab them back together. That didn't work. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna try to fix this. All right, so we've got the winch plate that we need to scarf off, and they don't want it anymore. So we're gonna scarf it off, we're gonna clean that up, we're gonna paint over whatever marks we make. We're gonna go ahead and clean up these hinges. They said they'd like new hinges, but if we can clean these up, they're okay with that too. And I think we can. These hinges are usually pretty good. They're also greasable, and I like that. So we'll see what we can do. We're gonna try to just clean those hinges up, weld the lid back on, and we'll paint that as well. So where this trailer's so big, it's not going to fit in the shop. I could pull it in backwards, but this is the perfect opportunity to pull out the skid and give it a run. So we're going to get the welding skid out, and I'm probably going to carbon arc this off. So we'll use the Trailblazer, we'll run some air out here, and we'll scarf this off. So I'm gonna get the skid out, we'll get it all set up, and when we're ready to start cutting this off, we'll come back to you. All right, guys, I'm just gonna set the skid up here on the deck of the trailer, pull my pin out here, and I wanna show you how smooth this works now. I'm able to turn the reels, pull this out. Okay. So now, just for fun, we're going to try this bad boy out on a 90 like this. I have gotten lots of comments on these reels and that I should get the Aluma reels. I totally agree that they are better reels. But for now, just for me to get started, I want to see how this goes. If I end up using this skid more than 2-3 times a year, which is typically honestly what I use it, if I use it more, then I'll probably invest in the Aluma reels. But for now, these ones are working just fine. I didn't have any issues the last time, so we're gonna run them and see how they do. I'm gonna show you guys what I did to fix this. I put some roller bearings down here, and I did record a little bit of what I did, kind of walk you through it. So I'll show you guys that. Okay, so we'll go ahead, we'll get our airline hooked up. We're gonna get our arc gouging set up, all hooked up, and we'll get over there, get ready to go, and see if we can't get working on this. I'll get this all set up. When I'm ready to cut, we'll come back to you. All right, guys, so let's talk about a couple things real quick. It's a little breezy out here, so hopefully the wind doesn't screw with my mic too much. So I want to go through the carbon arc setup real quick. This is what the carbon arc whip looks like. This one is an Arc Air K4000. I've used this setup a lot. You can set this up with different air compressor fittings. I just use a regular 1/4 inch quick connect fitting because that's what I run here in my shop. So hopefully you can see that. If you look inside there, there's a little tab this is actually going to be energized and the electricity will flow through this whip here. So you take your stinger, electrode positive, and you clip that on that tab, and then you hook your air up here. Okay, then I'll just go ahead and do that now. Okay, so there's a button on here, and that button is what releases your air. Okay, so when you're ready to cut, you turn that on, and basically what you're doing is you've got a rod. This is a carbon arc rod. If you haven't seen one, that's a carbon arc rod. Okay, it's a graphite rod, and then it's got like copper leaf on it, or just a copper coating. So the copper is what allows the electricity to flow through it and make an arc. And so you'll put it in your carbon arc setup, and I usually start it about right there. I usually keep, I don't know, 3-4 inches. Okay, and then you can just feed this as you burn up your rod. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn your air on, and it will create an arc, and the air blows the metal out as you burn out the metal. So that's how it works. I've got another video where I kind of go over this stuff. It's got air arc in the title, so check that one out. All right, so we're just about all set up. Things get really loud with air arcing. I always make sure I wear earplugs. The welder's gonna be running, so I'm not really gonna be talking a whole lot. I just wanted to go over a few things before I get started here.
It's time for today's super cool tool.
Another thing I wanted to mention is it's getting later in the year, it's getting colder, and we're here in Utah, so we're starting to feel the temperatures dip. I like to wear overalls when I work in the winter, and there's a few reasons why. They keep me warmer, for one. If I'm doing a job where it's really dirty, I like to have them on as well. One of the things I do like is I'm able to put like soapstone, my earplugs in these pockets, and then I'm not having to dig around in my pockets and stuff to get my earplugs out. So I just wanted to mention that. It's one of those things that later in the season you'll see me wearing more, and this is why I wear them. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the Trailblazer and we'll get started. So here we go. Something else I want to mention, right here there is a gouge setting, so I turn it on gouge, and then I turn this up to like 300 when I'm arc gouging. Okay, and I will adjust that if I need to, but for the size of those welds and as heavy as that plate is, that'll be fine. So we'll go 300 amps. Time for a crowbar. All right, so the back side of this tube back here we want to keep, and we don't want to scar it. I've gotten as much as I can of those stitch welds using carbon arc, but I don't want to go too deep and scar the corner of that tube. So what I'm going to do is grab a zip disc and I'll hit those, and then this should pop right off. Then we'll come back to this piece because it's coming off, and I'll hit the best I can. I'll carbon arc these the best I can. I'll probably have to grab an oxyacetylene torch with a scarf and tip, and I'll just kind of whittle away at this. We'll cut it off, and then I'll have to whittle the rest away so I don't scar the steel of the trailer. That's where we're at. We'll go ahead and grab a zip disc and see if we can't get this off. I'm not sure why they did this, but there's a hole in these corners where all this hot metal can go down in there and melt their straps. So I've pulled out the straps, but I'm also going to put a piece of plate in here in this corner just to keep as much of that crap from going down in there as possible. Hey! All right, guys, so this is what it looks like. You can see I just rough cut it. So now I'm going to go back with a scarf and tip, and I'll just feather this. Try not to gouge the trailer metal. See if I can just knock as much of that off as I can with a scarf and tip, and then I'll come back with a grinder and clean it up. So we'll do that now. Alright guys, I've made a little custom wood block here. I've stacked a couple of them actually, but you can see I've rounded the corner just to try to block any slag from dropping down in there. I've got this cord that goes in here. It's actually down in that corner, and I can't get it out of there. And for me to unwire it, I'd have to unwire everything out of this box. There's a splice that goes in there. It just would have been a nightmare, so I figured I'd put some wood blocks here to see if I can avoid melting that wire. So we'll see what happens. This is one of the fun parts about working on trailers. All right, so that's what she looks like after I've tried to feather that off. You can see I didn't really get into the base metal. That's what I wanted. I did, however, manage to melt the absolute piss out of the wire, so that's good. I'll be splicing that. There was just no way around it. I could have cut it right off the bat. That's the only thing I could have done better, I think, in that situation, is I just could have cut it and got it out of the way. But I figured I'd try it to see if I could get away with it. Obviously I didn't, so I'm gonna be splicing it anyway. So I'm gonna clean this up with the grinder. Gotta clean all this stuff up with the grinder, the back side of this, and then that part will be done. They don't want that stuff up there on there anymore. So once we get that done, we'll come back. We got to start looking at these hinges and seeing what we're going to do there. So let's get these cleaned up and we'll go from there. All right, guys, I got some hinges built here. I just took a piece of pin, a piece of rod, and a piece of pipe, TIG welded one end on. So this end will weld to the lid or the base, and the other is either the base or the lid. So you want one welded to one side, one welded to the other. Okay, so I'm gonna weld the lid to this outside one. I am going to weld this with some 6010 because this has a big gap on it and I want to fill it up. So if you are out in the field and you can't run wire, you can fill gaps with 6010 because it's a fast freezing rod. So I've got the welder set to 70 amps. So I'm going to tack it first. Okay, so sometimes as you weld something round, it will try to roll on you. So we want to make sure that this doesn't roll on us too bad. We want it to stay flat to the plate. So I'm just going to try to run one on this, see how it goes. So I'll probably just stack these until I get this gap filled up, and then I'll probably run a 7018 over the top of it. And then you'll be able to tell if it starts getting too hot. Let it cool. We'll come over here and tack this one on. I do need to get a tape measure because I want to make sure that this distance is the same on both sides. Let me go grab a tape measure. All right, got some 7018 here, just some 332 7018. We're running it at 85 amps. So now we're ready to weld our backside hinges on. We want to make sure that our gate is centered here. So now I'm going to get up on the deck and I'll pull a measurement back here, make sure this is square, and then we'll go ahead and weld those out. Alright, so now we're going to weld the bottom side here. You want to make sure you weld the same side. So if I welded the bottom side, so if I welded the base side on this one, I want to make sure that I weld that same one. I'm sure that seems dumb to a lot of you, but sometimes it can get confusing when you're welding these hinges on. Just make sure you weld the same side of the hinge to the same either top or bottom. Okay, let's give you a look. So I'll clean that up a little bit more with the grinder, but you guys get the idea. So the lid's done now. Now the only other thing left, other than splicing the wires I cooked, the customer asked if I could try to reinforce the bottom of this. A lot of times these trailer manufacturers, they're just cranking them out as fast as they can, and so they build them out of as thin a material as they can, but also they just kind of throw them together. So if you look in the bottom of this pan, you can see they had somebody weld those in there, there, and on the end there. I'm going to go ahead and weld that one and that one, and I'll have to probably bend those in with a hammer, and then I'm going to put a little more weld on that one, and that should give it the reinforcement that it needs. Alright, so I'll go ahead and I'll start working on that, and when I get to the point where I'm ready to start fitting that and welding it, I'll come back to you. Alright, there's not a whole lot of room here for you guys to see. I'll try to get what I can, but I've got this pretty close to where it needs to be. I'm going to try to tack this, run some 60-10 on it. It's really rusty and it's thin, and this is where 60-10 shines. Let's see if we can get this tacked. Okay, so you can see I welded that one out. That's not cleaned up, but it is welded out. I did weld that little bit, and then I'm going to do the other side of this one right here. So just got to get this stuff out of the way. I apologize, you guys can't really see what I'm doing. It's tough in this box, so when I get this all done, cleaned up, I'll come back and give you guys a look. Okay guys, all that's left to do, shoot it with some paint. So I will give you one last look at what the inside of that box looks like before I shoot it with paint. So let's go look. All right, so you can see we've welded every one of those, every spot that wasn't welded, so now it's welded completely. We want those holes there because that helps it drain, helps it keep from rusting out. So that's our box. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it with some paint along with all this stuff out here, and then we'll give you one last look. So I'm gonna paint it, and then we'll come back once it's painted. All right guys, we got it all painted. Let's show you what we got. Let's see if I can fall here. So it's not perfect, but you can see where they used to be. But it could be a lot worse. The way they were welded in there, we did the best we could. Got those new hinges on. Turned out good. Everything's painted up here. Got everything painted down there. The lid closes the way it should now. Only thing I got left to do is repair that bad boy. Pretty excited about that. All right, well, there was one more thing I wanted to show you guys before I let you guys go. I don't know that I ever showed the bearings from the bottom side of the lead roller now, the little extension. So let me just show you that. So hopefully you can see those. There's some rollers there. So there's actually 4 rollers, and what I did is I put a pin in, and then I just put a tack weld on each side of the pin just to hold it in. So there's 1, 2, and there's one like right here, and then there's one on the top at the very end. We'll go ahead and slide this in real quick. But you can see, slides nice and easy now. And then I'm able to put my pin in and roll these up. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Thought you might want to see how the bearings look. Worked out well. The skid's working out well. I will get some video of it in the truck. I know there have been a couple people that have requested that they want to see it in the truck. I have had it in the truck just to test fit it. I don't really want to pull everything out right now. Plus I got this trailer in the way until the customer comes to get it. So I will get some video of the skid in the truck, but it's probably not going to be today. So that's probably going to wrap this video up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching as always. See you on the next one. All right, guys, real quick, I just wanted to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys enjoyed spending time with your family and friends and loved ones. I just wanted to mention a few things that I'm thankful for. First and foremost, I'm thankful for God. I'm grateful for the knowledge that I have about my Savior, Jesus Christ, and the way that it's blessed my life. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the way that they support me, and I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do without their love and support. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for electricity and pneumatics and hydraulics and all those things that make life just much more enjoyable and much more easy. I'm thankful for the freedoms that I enjoy, for the opportunity I have to live in this country and to be able to do the things that I enjoy doing, and I know that those freedoms allow me to do so. I'm thankful for those who fight for those freedoms, and I really hope that they're able to spend some time with their families this time of year as well. So I just wanted to mention that. I thought we could focus more on the positive than the negative, and I think it would be cool if you guys want to mention 1 or 2 things that you're thankful for. Drop it in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it. So thanks again for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you guys had a very happy Thanksgiving. See you on the next one. So I just wanted to go over that real quick. I've done another video where I go a little bit more in depth on it. Check out that video. I can't remember what it's called, but I think I left carhartt in the description or in the title. Goodness. I've got another video where I kind of go over this stuff, and it's got carhartt in the description, in the title.